So we've covered sharps and flats. Now let's do naturals. Now before we talk about the definition of a natural, because it can be a little bit confusing, let's just get used to the symbol and let's draw a bunch of examples. So there's a little natural sign, and when you're drawing it in front of a note, basically here's your process. You'll do kind of like a regular uppercase L and then like an upside down uppercase L, intersect them, and then what you end up with is something that looks like a square with two lines jutting out from it. And you want to orient these so that they match where the note is located. So here is a line note, and you can orient the natural like so. Just make sure you don't do them too small, and you don't do them too big, and you don't put them in misaligned locations. So just these are fine. So do this exercise. This is super easy. You're just going to draw in your naturals. That was a little bit sloppy maybe. There we go. Natural sign. Just do this to get used to it, because you'll be writing these symbols quite a lot this term. Okay, now let's tackle what the heck this actually means. So let's say you're going along in a piece of music. I'm going to clear the decks here a little bit. Here's a little rule that I haven't mentioned yet. When you have a flat or a sharp in the course of a piece, so like in the middle of the notation, it is assumed to last for the entire measure that it belongs to. But as soon as you hit the next bar line, everything is kind of canceled out and everything goes back to normal. So let's look at an example of this. So let's say we've got a little piece of music that goes like this. And let's say it even continues over here. So we've got a couple of measures. I'm just going to fill this out with a couple of rests. We'll learn that notation soon enough. So what we have here, this is of course a G, that's of course an A. Now here, this is a B flat, right? So on the piano keyboard, you would be playing this note right there, or a higher version or lower version, or wherever you think middle C is. Now, since I've got that flat symbol there, that means that this note is also B flat, because I haven't yet hit the next measure line, or the next bar line. However, over here, because I'm in a new measure, technically this is just regular B. So that's how this rule works in terms of flats and sharps lasting for the current measure but not beyond it. But let's go back a few steps. What if you wanted not a B flat and another B flat here, but let's say you wanted G, A, B flat, and then regular B over here? How would you notate that? This is where you're going to use the natural sign. What it's doing is it's saying, yeah, I know one note ago you wanted me to play a B flat, but now with this symbol I'm saying play the regular B, play the regular version of that note. So here I would play G, A, B flat, and then B natural. And of course in the next measure, that would also be B natural. So the natural sign is particularly useful when you've just had a flat or a sharp and you want to cancel it out. Now, with that in mind, let's do the next exercise together. So this is a question that you're going to have quite frequently on your quizzes this term, determining whether notes are black or white. Now, this, of course, relies not only on your knowledge of sharps and flats and naturals as we have over here, it also relies on your knowledge of the layout of the piano keyboard. So if you remember that be careful of every flat, that means you have black keys in between all white keys except for between E and F and B and C. And so when you see a symbol, a note on the page, you should be able to figure out, well, am I on a black key at that point or am I on a white key? So let's do these together. Whoop, sorry, erase that. So with this first one, and by the way, actually, let me get this covered as well. I don't think we've seen this one officially yet in the text, maybe at the back with the examples. This is what's called a grand staff, where we have both the treble clef and the bass clef kind of joined together with this little brace. And that's saying basically, like, treat this as one unit. Usually the right hand will be playing that stuff and the left hand simultaneously will be playing that stuff below. So now that we've got that under control, let's take a look at the notes one at a time. So here, we would read this as an E flat, right? Because all cows eat grass, and we've got the flat symbol. So we would speak it as E flat. And now what we need to figure out is it a black key with a B or a white key with a W? Well, here's an E right here in our diagram. Flat means go to the left by 1/2 step. Oh, it lands us on that black key in between D and E. So that would be B for black. What about this next one? Well, you know, that's middle C, right? And so we would read this as C sharp. So let's take this C, for instance. It doesn't matter really which one. And we go up a 1/2 step. Oh, we do have a black key there, so that's black. What about this one? That is an E sharp. So let's start on an E over here, up a 1/2 step. Oh, that lands us on that white key that often goes by the name of F, but could theoretically go by the name of E sharp. So that is a white key there. A flat. Take your A, go to the left by a 1/2 step, and yes, that is a black key. Here's an interesting one. This is high up in the bass clef. That is a D natural. If you relate it to the middle C, you can figure it out. Now, here's the thing. If it's a natural note, by default, it has to be white. So anytime you see just a single natural sign in front of a note, that means, oh, everything is canceled out. It's just back to normal. So this one is definitely a white key. Here we've got an F flat, so here's an F, up, back down a 1/2 step, lands us on another white key, often goes by the name of E, but can also go by the name of F flat. Here is a B flat, let's take a B up to the left, yep, that's a black key. And then finally, oh, well, that's a natural note, it happens to be a G natural, but it almost doesn't matter what note it is. As long as it's got a natural sign in front of it, it's definitely going to be white. And we'll pause and take the last topic in a separate video.